So, twomad died. Now, I didn't really watch him much as I am not very interested in his content. However, all I can see in his backlog is about how he was a pedophile or a rapist or had some sort of mental issue. Now, that obviously isn't a good trait to have as a YouTuber with 2 million subs, but I think you could have got a better choice than for him to overdose while in the middle of an Overwatch game. Now, I don't know how you managed to overdose while playing an Overwatch game, but the only way I was able to find out about this was when I went on Twitter by pressing F12 on my Opera GX and eventually see him in my trending tab, which kind of gets to show how like irrelevant he has been even with 2 million subs in the past few months, even after making actual good content sometimes. Like I said, I have not watched him so far, but there has been some episodes that I've seen from him that have been genuinely good. Now, I'm not going to gaze his content too much, but I think he could have chosen a better path than obviously to kill himself, and he said he was going to therapy, but I seriously don't think that lasted for very long. Another thing is that we don't know what drugs he was taking until he eventually overdosed, but I'm going to say that whatever it was, that was some good shit. It's actually very funny how he also managed to somehow overdose on the day of Valentine's Day, so I think he just wasn't able to pull to the point where he just kind of killed himself. Now, I think this whole situation is being very hyped up for the fact that he died even though he was still somewhat of a human being, but at the same time I can't help but laugh at these Twitter memes. Another thing to mention is that twomad was also 23 years old, so obviously very young for his age for him to be passing away. Honestly, overall, it's a pretty sad situation when you think about it. Now, my theory here is that he probably overdosed due to depression because of the speculations and allegations that have been towards him. Now, TMZ obviously had to make an article about this, and it goes as following. Mudea Sedek, a popular YouTuber who goes by twomad online, has died, TMZ has learned. Law enforcement and sources tell us the internet personality, who has millions of followers across his various white YouTube channels and social pages, was found unresponsive Tuesday night at his Los Angeles area home, this after somebody called in for a welfare check. We're told twomad hadn't been heard from in several days by concerned parties, and he even missed some appointments. As a result, the LAPD was sent to check on him, and that's when we found his body, although unclear how long he'd been in that state. Now, there has also been another allegation made by Jamesky that reads as following. I can finally say it. twomad was a rapist and a pedophile. Over the past few years, he tried to murder me multiple times for helping the police and detectives in multiple states to investigate lots of horrible things he's done. Now, obviously, we don't have any concrete proof to show that he's actually tried to kill Jamesky. However, we're not too sure, but honestly, I think I am inclined to believe it. Another thing I wanted to mention is that I can't help but notice that twomad is in his Discord still playing Overwatch, non-active, of course. He hasn't talked, hasn't posted anything, but I can see that he is still playing Overwatch for about 6 days now. Now, usually with certain popular deaths that has happened before, like Technoblade and other YouTubers, I'm kind of wondering what was going to happen for after his death. Because after all the allegations and whatnot, I don't think Overwatch is going to make a memorial for him. Now, a lot of people seem to be mad about this because also at the same time, Etika is being trending right now, while twomad is obviously above him in the training tab, which I think is a little dumb. Another thing is about how people that actually respected Etika are now making complaints about twomad being popular on trending, and also how people are also comparing twomad's death to Etika's death also. Now, I'm not too sure how Etika ended up on trending as well, because if I last remember, Etika was dead about like 2 years ago now. Now, I may be wrong, I may be taking this out of context, I'm not too sure, but at the same time, I don't see it. Now, since I can't pull any hosts, I really thought that Valentine's Day was going to be a very boring day, but I think I changed my mind about that. Now, due to the increased popularity in Husband Hotel, a lot of people are also making a lot of memes about twomad ending up in Husband Hotel, which, I mean, you can't just not laugh at. Now, this whole situation seems to be very familiar to the whole EDP thing. Rather, twomad actually died, unlike EDP. Now, I can't help but just look at this as a whole situation as this happened very suddenly, as I were to come home and eventually find that like twomad has died all of a sudden and everyone posting about it. Now, obviously, a lot of YouTubers that have a lot more popularity than me will make videos about this and possibly get more views, but I kind of just want to make a video about this to kind of just get a lot of people a heads up. I think this whole duffel bag channel is soon to grow, but obviously that also means that we need to post more content. Now, this is a group channel, so I will be having some of my friends on here as well to kind of help me with these videos and kind of just get more content out. Now, something I didn't really look over that well was obviously Jamesky's tweet, as I have only read the first sentence of his tweet, which also reads as following. He wanted to take out multiple innocent lives by getting behind the wheel and going ahead on a freeway while being high on illegal drugs. He didn't succeed once as he overdosed before killing anyone, so he tried it again. Despite him trying to murder me and multiple innocent lives, I've been trying to help law enforcement to make sure he's safe, doesn't get hurt, and doesn't harm anybody. Please remember that he is a rapist and a pedophile. He continued to prey on the vulnerable even after the police got involved, including a 13-year-old in mental hospital. The tragedy doesn't execute any of his actions. I will address a lot of this stuff when I fully connect my thoughts. Past few months have been a total mess and reason why I ended up in ER. Please give me time. Now, obviously, James Key was very affected by this whole situation, and obviously wanted to make a message out just to kind of help people with the whole story. I mean, he has definitely added a lot to the story. As for him even trying to apparently take advantage of a 13-year-old in a mental hospital, which is pretty fucked up. Now, obviously, we don't have any concrete proof, like I've said before, and we're gonna have to wait until James Key puts out another tweet or makes a video about it just to kind of give us more details. The tweet is also very popular at the moment, reaching about 15 million views on Twitter. Now, honestly, judging by this whole thing, I think twomad should have been the one in the mental hospital getting help. Rather, he was instead taking advantage of a 13-year-old, which is not the way to go. Now, originally I was going to make a 2-minute compilation of all the twomad memes on Twitter, but instead I'm just going to let the gameplay play out for the next 2 minutes.